Hi, my name is Heather Cook. I'm one of the assistant directors at the Center for Career and Professional Development. And today we're going to talk a little bit about networking for introverts. So let's get started. So let's start with the 9 core competencies that employers, recruiters, professional schools, and graduate schools are looking for in college students as they apply for these positions. So considering that introverts are very self-aware, it would benefit to relate your experiences to each of these competencies and provide specific examples of how you've developed these skills. So once you do this, you're going to be well equipped to impress anyone who's looking at you for your next steps in your career. And these will be something you can use in interviews. But let's start talking about introversion. So as an introvert, do you have your voicemail set up? Why do you have it set up? Do you prefer to spend time alone? Do you prefer to keep your thoughts to yourself? Do you like to work collaboratively or solo? And would you rather work in a cubicle or office? So thinking about this, an extrovert might have a voicemail so they never miss a call, where introverts might have a voicemail so they don't have to answer a call. And most of the time, introverts find energy from solitude, while extroverts find it from social contacts. You likely already know if you're an introvert, but sometimes this can present challenges when it comes to trying to make professional connections. Many have been taught that introversion is a problem and it needs to be overcome. Yet introverts have significant strengths to draw on. Introverts typically think before they talk. They are focused on content, not quantity of words. They tend to gain energy when they are alone to recharge. And because of these qualities, they tend to be patient, persistent, and self-aware and aware of others. So when networking with others, these can be excellent traits that lend to meaningful connections. Now, that's not to say extroverts are not they don't have strong points. The strengths of extroverts typically lend to the typical advice that's given to those who are learning how to network. So they talk while they're thinking. They're expansive in their connections. They kind of cast a wide net and they have a broad range of interests. They tend to gain energy with others and they like to engage with others and they like to have several things going on at one time. And this can really benefit someone in the realm of networking, especially in a group event. However, introverts don't necessarily have to become extroverted to draw on their strengths. Just something to think about. So for communication, most introverts excel at written communication because that provides time to research, revamp, reevaluate, rewrite everything prior to sending information, such as the resume or updates on LinkedIn. And verbal interactions tend to be a little more challenging for introverts because they can be uncomfortable. They can be uncomfortable speaking with others that they don't know, and they can be uncomfortable speaking about themselves. But thinking about what networking actually is, when it comes to networking, it is essentially building a professional connection with another to gather information, find opportunities, and maintain relationships over time. And introverts are really good at this because they're good listeners, observers, and planners. So as networking is an important tool in the job search, it's worth kind of taking a look at this, practicing, and getting better at that. So there are a few tips before we get into ways to get into networking. Remind yourself you do not have to become an extrovert to network. Embrace your introversion and find ways to stay energized while you're doing this. Focusing on your interactions, the quality versus the quantity. So connect instead of collecting. Use your listening and observing skills to gather information. Ask meaningful questions and engage in meaningful conversations. And pace yourself to take a break when you need it. So networking, if you haven't done a lot of networking, it's kind of hard to think about where to find the opportunity. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of these, but group networking events, career fairs, daily interactions, social networking sites such as LinkedIn, and informational interviews. interviews. These are all great places to make connections that can help you along your career path. So let's talk a little bit about in-person group networking events. And although during COVID, this has been a little challenging, it will come back. And this is something that an introvert may need to prepare themselves for. So give yourself a little quiet time before you actually go to the event. Something you could do is volunteer at the event if possible. That's going to give you kind of an extra meaning that you can focus on when you're volunteering. And then when you're networking, you've already gotten yourself warmed up. Go with a friend or classmate. And in doing that, challenge each other to meet others and then talk about it with each other. Set realistic goals. Don't set a goal of meeting 10 to 20 people. Maybe set a realistic goal for your first time of 2 to 3 people. And try to get there a little bit early. Take a minute to breathe. Don't get too early because that can just increase your anxiety. But, step aside, take a breath, and then go in. When you're at group networking events, sometimes it's a challenge figuring out how to start connecting with people. One built-in way of doing that is to get in line. If there's a registration table, you're automatically in front of and right behind someone to speak to. If you're at the food or beverage table, that's another opportunity for you to connect with someone. So make eye contact, make some pleasant conversation, and have a pleasant expression on your face. If you've practiced your 30-second commercial and elevator pitch, this is a great place to start using that prior to getting into the actual networking event. You can focus on others. Introverts are very good at asking questions and observing and listening to others. Focus on that first and kind of ease into the conversation. Try not to stand at the edge of the room. Go ahead and join in. Just kind of dive in, get into the room, start talking to people. And then if you need a break, take it. Take a break, run to the restrooms, step outside for a moment, and then come back in. After you've started to connect, the communication piece, simple sometimes to think about, but it's nice to have a few questions just in your pocket. So of course, asking about how your day was, what do you like about your job? How did you get into that line of work? When I say this, I love your pen. Is there a story behind it? If someone's wearing something that's unusual or something that is attractive, go ahead and mention it. It's kind of an icebreaker and can even bring some interesting stories if they have a story behind it. And if you've not been to the venue or if you just want to make a comment about the venue, it's a great way to start a conversation. So once you're in this group networking event, sometimes you get into a conversation and you have a little trouble moving along. So that person may be talking a little bit more than you had expected and you want to go ahead and move on. Or, you just feel like you don't know how to end a conversation. So here are a few ways to try to end conversations gracefully. Asking if you can have their card or their contact information, that it was really great to meet them. Thank them for their time, kind of move along after that. And, if you really think that there are a lot of other people, just mention, I know you're going to want to talk to other people. I'm not going to hold you up, but I really appreciate this opportunity. And if you happen to notice a classmate or someone passing by that might have the same interest as you, go ahead and introduce that person to the colleague or to the person you're speaking with, and then kind of make your way out of the conversation. Now, thinking about when to actually leave a group networking event, sometimes it's a little hard to know when. So thinking about your escape, and I don't mean escape in a bad way, but just thinking about the venue. How are you going to make your way out? Are you going to start at the back of the room and make your way towards the door? Are you going to kind of go in a circle? I know that seems a little silly, but if you kind of look at the venue and figure how you want to work the room, you can make your escape without making yourself more nervous walking through. Pay attention to your body signals. Don't wait till you're burned out or over anxious to leave. So kind of that right before it's going to happen, hopefully you will have already left. When you've met your goals for the event, if you set a goal of meeting 5 people and you've met those 5 people and you're feeling pretty good about it, go ahead and leave. You don't necessarily have to stay for the entire event. And if you have a predetermined departure time, kind of stick to that. Maybe set a little silent alarm on your watch or your phone so you get a little buzz when it's time for you to start making your way out. And if you came with someone, walk out with them. If you didn't, find someone else to walk out with. Sometimes it's a little helpful to have a buddy on your way out. And after you've gone to a group networking event, think about it, decompress, relax, congratulate yourself, you did it. Talk it over with a trusted friend or a family member, kind of talk about how it went, what went well, what would you do differently next time. And then review and make some notes for yourself about these new contacts. Sometimes that information doesn't stick with you very long, so it's nice to make a few notes so you can follow up with a personalized note or email to the person that you met with. Consider sending them like a link to an interesting article or something relevant to the conversation that you had. But keep it brief and authentic. Don't force it. Don't send your whole resume in the entire body of an email. Just give some information and keep in touch. Other opportunities for networking you may not really think about, but daily interactions. That's a very small scale of networking, but you never know. The person you're talking to may not be the connection you're looking for, but they may know someone who is. So every day can bring a new connection. Try to pay attention. Tell people in your life that you're seeking employment, internship, or information about the field, but don't make every conversation about your job search. It's balance that you're looking for. Try to develop and maintain relationships, communicate with others even after you've gotten the opportunity that you were looking for, maintain that relationship. And then when you can return the favor, help others to network. So it's always nice to continue that for new people as they come into the fold. Online presence. So social media networking sites are a great opportunity for introverts to make those connections. So update and maintain your LinkedIn information, but resist the urge to use these sites as your only networking tool. I think it's really easy for an introvert to just sit at the computer, play with the online tools, get them the way exactly that you want, reach out online and never actually have to speak to a connection verbally. So trying to find that balance between online and in-person will help you get more comfortable with the in-person type of social networking. And another thing to consider when you are building your network is informational interviewing, cultivating connections. So you can connect with a lot of people in the field, faculty members, staff, people who are working in the industry that you are interested in. Arrange some meetings with someone in the field. Have some questions prepared. Ask intelligent and relevant questions. Relax and work on developing that connection. I think sometimes we're very concerned about what we're going to ask next. Ask the question and actually listen to the answer and let the conversation flow naturally. You will build connections faster that way. Ask for other people that you might connect with to learn more. So at the end of a conversation, a way to do that is to just say, thank you so much for your time. I've learned a lot. Can you think of anyone else that I might be able to connect with that I could ask some more questions or would be beneficial for me to understand? And then always follow up with a thank you note or an email if you've conducted an informational interview. Informational interviews are a great way to find out more about the field, but it is also a good way to, at times, build that network. And then when it's time to apply for an internship or a job, you already have a connection and you don't have to go looking for that. So networking in itself is really about making connections, developing and maintaining these connections. You can use these in your career and in your personal life, and many times those overlap. So keeping that in mind as an introvert and keeping in mind your strengths can really help you along this path. So I do want you to think about introversion is a gift. So try not to fight it. Use it to develop your strengths, develop your networks, and remember to connect versus collect. Stay focused, reflect, take time to recharge, and remember to breathe. A few final thoughts. These are some quotes that I really thought were interesting and I really like, especially that first one, everyone shines given the right lighting. Everyone's different. There's nothing wrong with being an introvert. You just have to utilize your strengths and not try to become something you're not. And there's several more there that you can take a look at. So thank you for spending just a little bit of time with me about introverts and how you can use your introversion in the networking realm. If you have questions or have any desire to meet with any of us here at the Career Center, we're currently conducting our services virtually. You just email to the CU Career Center at gmail.com. And then once school starts, we will have our virtual drop-ins, and those you can access through our website as well. And we end on our diversity statement, noting that we strive to educate ourselves and others about the issues of a pluralistic society. So we are committed to reaching all individuals, no matter how they identify. So we recognize that a workshop environment can introduce someone to the content. We also recognize that you may need to meet with us individually, and we are here for that. So reach out, connect with us, and we'll try to help you along this way, along this journey. Thank you for spending a little time with me. I hope you have a great day. Take care.